Okay, so we're back with Mr. Bump, who bumps into everything. Let's have a look where we are, part 2. In order to recover from the series of rather unfortunate happenings, Mr. Bump decided to take a holiday. There he could think about what sort of jobs he could do and where he wouldn't be such a nuisance to everyone. So he set off to the station to catch the train to the seaside. Oh, he might be coming to Southend. While Mr. Bump was on holiday, several things happened. For instance, he fell off a boat into the sea and a lifeboat had to come and rescue him. Mr. Page. For instance, one day when he was quietly walking along the beach, minding his own business, he got his foot stuck in a bucket and he couldn't get it off and he had to walk around with it on his foot for hours. For instance, another time he was walking along the beach when he walked straight into a large hole that somebody had dug and he had to stay there all night because he couldn't climb out on his own. When I was a little girl, I used to get my dad to dig us holes in the sand. I don't know why, I just used to really enjoy it. However, despite all these little accidents, Mr. Bump enjoyed his holiday, and while he was there, he had a splendid idea about what sort of job he should do. It was quite simply the best idea Mr. Bump had ever had. It was an absolutely splendid idea. Well, I wonder what the idea is. There's a clue. There is a clue. And now Mr. Bump works happily for Mr. Barley, the farmer. Mr. Barley has a rather large apple orchard on his farm, and that's where Mr. Bump works. Mr. Bump's job is picking apples, but he doesn't use a ladder to climb up the trees to pick the apples like other apple pickers. Oh no, Mr. Bump has a much better way of picking apples than that. He just walks about. And before long, Mr. Bump, being Mr. Bump, walks into a tree. Bump! And down falls an apple, and Mr. Bump catches it. This makes the job of apple picking much easier, and Mr. Bump is very pleased about his new job. Mr. Barley is very pleased about his new apple picker. So you see, the story of Mr. Bump isn't such a sad story after all. And if you ever bump yourself, you know what to do, don't you? Go and eat an apple picked by Mr. Bump, and then you won't feel your bump at all. You'll remember the next time you have a bump, won't you? Good. There we go. Mr. Bump by Roger Hargreaves. And there's all the other Mr. Men at the back. I wonder how many Mr. Men characters there actually are. And I wonder what your favourite Mr. Man or Little Miss character is. Enjoy. Take care and don't bump into anything.